at Reform UK. It is Zia Yusuf. Zia, welcome to the show. It's a pleasure to have your company. This calamity simply gets worse and worse by the hour.
Yeah, and absolutely no sympathy whatsoever. You're hearing a lot about Keir Starmer apparently, grappling with his conscience. You're hearing that from particularly the left-wing press. What conscience? Is that the same conscience Keir Starmer grappled with when he pursued and hounded brave British veterans through the court system, driving one of them in particular to try to kill themselves 3 times? Remember, he was confronted in a hearing, in a committee hearing, when he was told that a farmer had committed suicide and others were considering doing so as a result of his appalling tax raid on them. You saw his response. I thought it was a pretty cold-blooded and awful response. And so I don't think there's much grappling to be done with here. Keir Starmer is only Prime Minister because the Tory vote collapsed at the last general election, because the British public was sick and tired of corruption, betrayal and sleaze. And in fact, Starmer won fewer votes than Corbyn did in both times Corbyn ran. And what have we seen since Starmer became Prime Minister? It's just been one scandal after another. And what's really telling is that Starmer admitted this week, that he knew that Mandelson had continued his close friendship with Epstein.
Right, let me ask you something. When does a Prime Minister go from riding high to riding the eject button? Because according to Reform UK's Zia Yusuf, we're not just watching Keir Starmer wobble anymore, we're watching a full-blown political implosion in real time. And honestly, the drama is absolutely chef's kiss. Starmer's facing a mutiny within his own party, a collapsing approval rating, and a scandal involving Jeffrey Epstein that's got more twists than a pretzel factory. So buckle up, because today we're diving into why Reform UK is saying what half of Westminster is apparently thinking. He needs to go. I'm Brit Article, and if you love British political chaos served with a side of absolute carnage, smash that subscribe button and ring the bell, because trust me, you do not want to miss what's coming next. So let's set the scene, shall we? It's 2025, and Sir Keir Starmer, the man who promised stability, integrity, and a return to grown-up politics, is currently presiding over what can only be described as a dumpster fire wearing a suit. And not just any dumpster fire, mind you. This is a dumpster fire that somehow managed to appoint a scandal-plagued peer as ambassador to the United States, alienate farmers to the point of tragedy, and turn his own party into what Zia Yusuf brilliantly called a circular firing squad. Honestly, you couldn't write this script. Well, actually, I am writing this script, but you get my point. Enter Zia Yusuf, Reform UK's policy chief, who absolutely did not come to play. Speaking on GB News, Yusuf didn't just criticise Starmer, he verbally dismantled him like IKEA furniture in the hands of someone who's lost the instruction manual. Yusuf's thesis: Starmer isn't grappling with his conscience, he doesn't have one to grapple with. And frankly, when you look at the receipts, it's hard to argue. Let's talk about those receipts, because they're longer than a CVS receipt and twice as damning. First up, the veterans. Yusuf reminded everyone that this is the same Keir Starmer who, as Director of Public Prosecutions, pursued British veterans through the courts with the enthusiasm of someone chasing the last Greggs sausage roll. One veteran, as Yusuf pointed out, attempted suicide 3 times because of the relentless legal pressure. 3 times. And when confronted about this in committee hearings, Starmer's response was, according to Yusuf, cold-blooded and awful. Not exactly the warm, empathetic leadership you'd expect from someone who claims to care about ordinary Brits, is it? But wait, there's more. Because if hounding veterans wasn't enough, Starmer's government decided to slap farmers with what Yusuf called an appalling tax raid. And when confronted with the fact that a farmer had taken his life and others were considering it, Starmer's reaction was about as compassionate as a parking ticket. This is a man who supposedly represents the working class, yet farmers, the literal backbone of our food security, are being taxed into oblivion while he shrugs like he's ordering a disappointing sandwich. Now here's where it gets properly juicy, the Lord Mandelson scandal. Oh, where do we even begin with this absolute car crash of a decision? For those blissfully unaware, Lord Mandelson, yes, the same Peter Mandelson who was twice forced to resign from ministerial roles during the Blair years because of separate scandals, was appointed as the UK's ambassador to the United States. You know, just one of the most prestigious, high-profile diplomatic roles in British politics. No big deal, right? Except here's the kicker. Mandelson maintained a close friendship with Jeffrey Epstein after Epstein became a convicted paedophile. Let that sink in for a moment. And Starmer knew. He admitted this week that he knew about Mandelson's continued friendship with Epstein. He knew, and he appointed him anyway. As Yusuf put it, and I'm paraphrasing here because his actual words were far more scathing, what employer in their right mind would hire someone with that on their CV, let alone give them one of the most important jobs in government? It's like hiring a fox to guard your hen house and then acting shocked when eggs go missing. Mandelson was eventually dismissed in September after appearing in Epstein-linked files and photographs released by a U.S. congressional committee. Just last week, the U.S. Department of Justice released 3 million documents, 3 million, that added even more fuel to this already raging inferno. Mandelson has denied wrongdoing and apologized to Epstein's victims, saying he regrets maintaining contact. But the damage? Oh, the damage is done. Starmer even apologized to Epstein's victims for believing Mandelson's lies, which raises an obvious question. If you knew he was lying, why did you appoint him in the first place? It's giving, I didn't know the leopard would eat my face.
But let's zoom out for a second, because this isn't just about one catastrophically bad appointment. This is about a pattern. Zia Yusuf made a brilliant point when he said that Starmer only became prime minister because the Conservative vote collapsed. The British public were sick of corruption, betrayal, and sleaze under the Tories, so they reluctantly backed Labour. But here's the truly embarrassing bit. Starmer actually won fewer votes than Jeremy Corbyn did in both his runs for PM. Jeremy Corbyn! Let that marinate. The man couldn't even outperform Corbyn, a politician so divisive he made Marmite look universally beloved, and yet he somehow ended up in number 10. And what's happened since Starmer waltzed into Downing Street? Scandal after scandal after scandal. It's like watching someone speed-run a political career destruction any percent. At this point, I'm half expecting him to accidentally declare war on Wales or appoint a TikTok influencer as chancellor. Now, if you thought things couldn't get messier, hold my tea, because the Labour Party itself is turning into Game of Thrones but with worse costumes. The knives are out, folks. Baroness Harman, Labour's former deputy leader, called Starmer weak and naive. Weak and naive. That's not exactly a ringing endorsement from someone in your own party. Then you've got Graham Stringer, a veteran Labour MP, who went on television and basically said Starmer is finished, not struggling, not facing challenges, finished, done, cooked, stick a fork in him. And behind the scenes, the wagons are circling Downing Street like sharks smelling blood. Angela Rayner is at the helm, Wes Streeting is maneuvering, and Andy Burnham is hovering like a political vulture waiting for the right moment to swoop. It's a full-blown leadership crisis, and the only question now is who gets to inherit the smoking crater that is Starmer's government. Yusuf didn't mince words about this either. He called it a political calamity and said it's no longer a question of if Starmer gets replaced, but when. The real drama? Whether the next Labour leader even wants to inherit the looming disaster of the May elections. Because, let's be honest, taking over from Starmer right now is like being handed the Titanic's captain's hat after it's already hit the iceberg. Sure, you're technically in charge, but good luck with that. Here's what's truly wild about all this. The government has agreed to publish documents relating to Mandelson's appointment after MPs approved a Conservative motion. But, and there's always a but, any material considered sensitive on national security or international relations grounds will be reviewed by Parliament's Intelligence and Security Committee first, and they've said there's no set time frame for completing that review. Translation? Don't hold your breath waiting for transparency. It's like asking for your homework back from a teacher who definitely didn't lose it. So what does all this mean for British politics? Well, according to Reform UK, it means we're watching a prime minister who's clinging to power by his fingernails while his own party sharpens their knives behind closed doors. It means we've got a government that's lurching from crisis to crisis with all the grace of a drunk giraffe on roller skates. And it means that the British public who voted for change, for integrity, for something better than the Tory chaos, are watching Labour become the very thing they claimed to oppose. Zia Yusuf's assessment is brutal, but arguably fair. Starmer's leadership is unsustainable. He's hemorrhaging support, his party is fractured, and the scandals just keep piling up like dirty laundry. Whether you agree with Reform UK's politics or not, it's hard to deny that they're tapping into a genuine frustration that a lot of people are feeling right now. Because if you promise to be different, to be better, to restore trust in politics, and then you go and appoint someone with Epstein connections to one of the most important diplomatic roles, that's not just a mistake, that's political malpractice. So, there you have it. Keir Starmer under siege, Labour in chaos, and Reform UK practically salivating at the prospect of electoral gains. What a time to be alive! If you enjoyed this deep dive into Britain's political soap opera, don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell because this story is far from over. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.